So imagine the year is 2085.
Okay, I'm with you.
You are 112 years old. You're feeling like just as physically healthy as you did at 40.
Wow.
Right. And you are looking to start your fourth entirely new career.
Number 4, all right.
Yeah. So you submit your portfolio, and the AI screening application just instantly rejects you.
Ouch.
And why? Because it completely missed like a self-deprecating joke in your cover letter, and it flagged you as lacking professional confidence.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like science fiction, right? But the foundation for that exact scenario is actually being poured right now.
It's crazy to think about.
It really is. We are experiencing this profound shift where technology is rapidly evolving from, just a tool we use into an autonomous system that actually makes decisions for us.
Yeah, and welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Because, we're constantly looking for ways to save time and mental energy. We crave that completely frictionless life.
We really do.
But the core question of our deep dive today is, what happens when that relentless pursuit of ultimate efficiency starts costing us our skills, our well-being, and like our actual human judgment?
Right.
We're trying to figure out how to harness this massive wave of automation while somehow keeping the human in the loop.
Because if you engineer like all the friction out of life, you might accidentally engineer out the very moments that build our resilience and our agency.
Exactly. So let's ground this right in your living room. Before we even touch on global labor markets or AI running schools, this shift starts with our personal digital balance.
Yeah, right at home.
If you look around your house, the average U.S. home right now has 11 connected devices.
Which is a lot when you think about it.
It's wild. We have smart lighting in 24% of homes, smart speakers in 36%. And the entire marketing pitch for these devices is, the reduction of decision fatigue.
Which, to be fair, is a very real, documented psychological burden. Making hundreds of micro-decisions a day physically exhausts the brain's prefrontal cortex.
Right, so you set up an out-the-door routine, you tap a screen once, and your lights turn off, the thermostat drops, the security system arms itself.
Very convenient.
Super convenient. Or, even more intimately, you use a service like, say, Verizon Family Plus to automatically pause your home's Wi-Fi an hour before bedtime.
Yeah, a lot of parents do that.
You do that so you don't have to get into a screaming match with your teenagers about screen time. You are basically offloading a stressful parenting decision to a router.
Right, and it is incredibly convenient in the moment. But the long-term psychological toll of that convenience is, well, that's what we really need to look at.
Right.
There's this massive recent study out of Indonesia that paints a super complicated picture here. So this is a massive digital market, nearly 80% internet penetration.
Which means, what, hundreds of millions of people?
Over 221 million people online. And the researchers found that despite being hyper-connected, 45% of young users report feeling consistently stressed, anxious, or isolated.
Wait, 45%?
Yeah, almost half. And specifically due to their tech use.
How does a tool explicitly designed to make our lives easier and more connected end up making almost half of young people feel isolated?
So the researchers point to a psychological mechanism called crowding out.
Okay, what is that?
Think of your daily time and your mental energy as a finite container. The hours spent immersed in digital environments, they actively crowd out the physical, real-world activities that naturally regulate our mood.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it physically displaces face-to-face interaction, getting outdoor exercise, and crucially, sleep.
The sleep disruption is a huge part of this, right? Because the blue light from the screens is actively tricking your brain's circadian rhythms into thinking it's still daytime.
Exactly. That's the physiological side of it.
Right.
But on the psychological side, the researchers applied psychologist Carol Reif's dimensions of well-being to this data.
Okay.
Reis identifies several core pillars for a healthy human mind, and two of the biggest are autonomy and positive relations with others.
Right.
Digital technology acts as a massive double-edged sword here.
I mean, it obviously helps with the relations part, right? You can FaceTime a relative on another continent or find a highly specific mental health support group online that you could never find in your local town.
Yes, the connectivity is a huge benefit. But the design of these platforms...
The infinite scroll?
Yes, the infinite scroll, the algorithmic push notifications, the FOMO, it severely damages our autonomy. We lose control over our own attention span.
Going back to that router, automatically turning off the Wi-Fi at bedtime?
Yeah.
By eliminating the friction of arguing with your kids, You're also eliminating the messy, spontaneous human interaction where you actually teach a child about boundaries.
That's exactly it.
You're outsourcing your family's self-regulation to a timer. It's almost like these smart home devices are digital training wheels for our daily routines. But if you never take the training wheels off.
You forget how to balance the bike yourself.
Exactly.
That is a vital way to look at it. If an algorithm is managing your discipline, you aren't actually practicing discipline.
You're just getting the result without doing the work.
Right. You are experiencing the benefit without doing the psychological push-ups required to maintain it. And while that saves energy today, it degrades your psychological autonomy over time.
Man. So if we are already experiencing this much mental fatigue, just trying to manage our smart thermostats and bedtime routines, how is the human brain supposed to handle the cognitive load when automation hits our actual jobs?
That is the million-dollar question, or rather the trillion-dollar question.
Let's scale this up from the living room to the global economy.
Okay, so the macroeconomic shift is just staggering. There's a comprehensive report from the Rotman School of Management that looked at the value driven by AI and automation,
Okay.
specifically deep learning models. We are looking at an economic engine that could create $3.5 to $5.8 trillion in annual value.
That is a staggering amount of wealth generation, trillions.
Yeah.
But, I mean, wealth generation usually comes with massive disruption to the people actually doing the work.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Now, the Rotman report clarifies a common misconception here. Only about 5% of occupations can be fully automated from end to end right now.
Okay, so a robot isn't going to just walk in and take your entire desk.
Right, not exactly. However, 30% of the daily activities in 60% of all occupations are entirely automatable right now.
Wait, okay, let me unpack that. So if you are a marketing manager, you might not lose your job. But the 30% of your day you spent, I don't know, pulling analytics, drafting initial ad copy, formatting reports, that's suddenly gone, handed over to a machine.
Exactly. The nature of the daily work changes fundamentally, and by 2030, this dynamic means between 400 million and 800 million workers globally could be displaced from their current roles.
Wow.
But the silver lining is that between 555 million and 890 million new jobs will be created.
Okay, so a net positive in jobs, maybe?
Potentially. But the turbulence of that transition means up to 14% of the global workforce will have to completely change their occupations within the decade.
That is wild. I mean, think about your own retirement accounts right now. You were likely pacing your savings to run out when you were 85 or 90.
You're sure lucky.
Right. But earlier, you brought up this concept of the centenarian century, which completely blew my mind.
It's fascinating.
Because advances in longevity science and cellular rejuvenation mean we have to start preparing for the reality that humans could soon be living healthy, highly productive, lives up to 150 years.
Right. The biological reality is shifting just as fast as the technological one. If you live to 150, the traditional three-stage model of life,
Which is what school, work, retire.
yeah, where you go to school for 20 years, you work in one industry for 40 years, and then you sit on a porch for 85 years, that completely shatters. The single-track career is dead.
Because you'd run out of money in a decade.
Exactly.
We're going to have to work. And to survive an economy where you are working for 100 years, while automation constantly shaves off 30% of your industry's tasks every few years, you have to constantly reinvent yourself.
Which brings us to the most crucial survival skills for the centenarian century, and those are autodidacticism and heutagogy.
Okay, big words. Autodidacticism is being completely self-taught, right?
And heutagogy is the specific educational framework for it. It is self-determined learning.
Okay.
The learner is entirely at the center. You aren't following a curriculum handed to you by a professor. You are diagnosing your own knowledge gaps, you're finding the resources, and you're deciding how to test yourself.
Which we are actually already seeing in the tech world. Like over 69% of software developers currently operating consider themselves self-taught.
Right. It's a return to a very old archetype, actually. James Watt, whose improvements to the steam engine basically drove the Industrial Revolution.
You self-taught?
He was an autodidact. There's even a brilliant 12th century philosophical novel by Ibn Tufayl called Hey Ibn Yak Khan.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's amazing. It's about a feral boy raised by a doe on a deserted island.
Wait, raised by a deer?
Yeah. And through pure, unguided observation and reasoning, he teaches himself physics, astronomy, and the laws of nature. It's the ultimate historical archetype of the self-determined learner.
Okay, I love the island analogy, but I have to push back here for a second.
Sure.
If I'm 45 years old and my accounting job just got heavily automated and I need to teach myself data science to stay employable. What does this actually look like?
That's the real challenge.
Because is hudagogy just a fancy academic word for Googling things and falling down YouTube rabbit holes?
Yeah.
When I try to learn something on YouTube, the algorithm constantly tries to distract me with entertainment.
And that is the exact trap. If you just rely on search engines and video recommendations, you aren't practicing hudagogy. You are just consuming content.
Right.
Real self-determined learning requires building your own scaffolding.
What does scaffolding actually mean in practice, though?
Scaffolding means creating a structure for your learning before you even start consuming information. If you are that 45-year-old learning data science, scaffolding means finding a validated syllabus from a university, setting rigid project-based milestones for yourself.
Like, I have to build this predictive model by Friday.
Exactly. And finding a community of peers who can critically review your code. You have to actively fight the algorithm's tendency to passively entertain you. You have to basically build the walls of your own classroom.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So self-education is the ultimate survival tool for individuals. But formal education is still how we train society at scale.
Yes, absolutely.
How is the formal education system, like our actual schools and universities, handling this massive trillion-dollar wave of automation?
Well, they are currently falling headfirst into what technologists call the efficiency trap.
Oh, because
Okay.
according to a 2025 survey from the Ateneo Research Institute for the Futures of Education,
Right, RFE.
yeah, RIFE,
Mm.
61% of teachers are now using AI for daily support. And the time savings they're reporting are almost unbelievable.
Oh, they're huge.
In the Philippines, for example, schools in Quezon City report that teachers are saving 10 to 22 and a half hours every single week on administrative tasks.
That is literally half a full-time job handed back to the teacher. And we are seeing this push to its absolute ideological extreme with programs like the U.S. Alpha School pilot.
What are they doing?
They've implemented a model where the core 2-hour K-12 academic curriculum is entirely tutored by personalized AI models.
Wait, so the AI is the teacher. What do the human adults in the room even do?
The traditional teachers are relegated to being guides or motivational coaches.
Huh?
They oversee the students' project work and they handle behavioral issues, but they are largely freed of their core pedagogical responsibilities, the actual teaching and assessing of academic subjects.
Honestly, that sounds like a dream for an overworked system. Why is this called an efficiency trap?
So the term was coined by technologist Jason Snyder. The efficiency trap describes an era where optimization replaces wisdom as the highest good and metrics reign over the actual mission.
Okay, optimization over wisdom.
Right. A recent study by Du and colleagues suggests that teachers can rapidly develop an AI addiction.
Addiction to the time savings.
Addiction to the cognitive offloading.
Oh.
Evaluating a student's essay or figuring out why a fifth grader is failing fractions, that is incredibly hard mental work. When a teacher uses AI to do that evaluation, they aren't just saving time, they are experiencing cognitive offloading. And over time, this leads to deprofessionalization.
How does that physically happen, though?
When a human teacher reads 30 essays, they build a complex mental model of each child in their brain. They learn how that child thinks, what their home life might be like, what their unique struggles are.
Right.
That mental model is the muscle of empathy. If the AI reads the essays and generates the personalized report card comments, the teacher never builds that mental model. The empathy muscle atrophies.
Wow.
UNESCO has actually issued severe warnings about this exact loss of personal authorship in teaching.
I hear the warning. I really do. But let's unpack this from the perspective of the teacher on the ground for a second. If a teacher in the Philippines is working a grueling 52-hour week, dealing with an overcrowded classroom of 45 kids, and they are buying their own supplies out of pocket, saving 22.5 hours is a massive life-altering lifeline. It means they actually get to see their own families. Are we really going to complain about a tool that stops a public servant from burning out completely?
And that is a completely valid defense. It highlights exactly why we cannot simply ban these tools. We have to draw a distinct hard line between helpful administrative relief and the dangerous outsourcing of pedagogical judgment.
So where is that line?
Using AI to format a weekly vocabulary worksheet or to draft a standard memo to parents about a field trip, that is administrative relief. You are using the tool to clear the brush.
Right.
The trap snaps shut when the AI is used to evaluate the student's mind. The machine does not possess empathy. It does not understand the nuance of a child who is struggling to express a complex cultural idea in their second language.
So we find ourselves at this massive crossroads. We desperately need the efficiency. Teachers need those 20 hours back just to survive the profession.
Absolutely.
But if I let the AI run wild and do the evaluating, we lose our human agency, our empathy, and basically the very soul of the education system. How do we split the difference here?
The most promising middle ground currently being tested is a framework called Human-in-the-Loop Grading, or HITL for short.
HITL.
Yeah. A fascinating paper published in the journal Ethica outlines a 4-layer HITL framework that was tested on 800 undergraduate essays.
Okay, 800 essays is a lot.
And it managed to reduce the teacher's grading time by an impressive 40%, but it maintained strict human ethical oversight throughout the entire process.
Walk us through the mechanics of this. How does a 4-layer system actually keep the human in the driver's seat?
It starts before the AI ever reads a single word. Layer 1 is pre-grading configuration. The human educator sets highly specific rubrics and must actively calibrate the AI models.
Calibrate them how?
Well, they use massive text prediction engines, models like Roberta or Distilbert, but these models are essentially just linguistic pattern matchers trained on standard formalized text.
Meaning if you don't calibrate them, they assume everyone writes like an academic journal.
Exactly. If the human doesn't adjust the sensitivity thresholds, the AI will brutally penalize an ESL student or a student writing in a non-standard regional dialect.
Because it thinks it's wrong.
Right, because the mathematical weights view those deviations as errors rather than stylistic choices. The human has to teach the AI what to value first.
So you build the guardrails.
Yes.
What happens in layer 2?
Layer 2 is the AI pre-assessment. The algorithm reads the essays, assigns a first-pass score based on the human's rubric, and generates inline feedback.
Okay.
But the crucial mechanism here is that the AI must generate a confidence score for every single grade it gives. If the text is highly ambiguous or experimental, the AI's confidence score drops, and it immediately flags the paper for human intervention.
Which brings us to the ethical core of the system, right? Layer 3.
Layer 3 is human review. The human educator reviews the AI's initial work. In the study of those 800 undergraduate essays, the faculty validated 87% of the AI scores with only minor tweaks.
Wow, 87%.
For standard, straightforward academic writing, the machine was highly accurate.
87% is an A for the machine. But what happened with the other 13%?
That 13% is the exact reason the human cannot be removed from the loop. The teachers had to actively override the AI on 13% of the papers because the algorithm completely misunderstood the nuance of human expression.
Like what kind of nuance?
The AI would read an essay that used heavy satire or a non-linear metaphorical argument based on local folklore, and the machine would grade it as incoherent or off-topic.
But the human teacher reads it and says, no, this isn't incoherent, this is brilliant creative writing.
Exactly. The human recognizes the subtext that the pattern matching algorithm is just entirely blind to.
You know, it's exactly like having a hyper-efficient but incredibly literal junior assistant.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. Like they can read through 800 pages of research, find all the typos, and synthesize the basic data overnight. They do the heavy lifting. But you still have to read the final report and sign your own name to it. Because that junior assistant doesn't understand the complex office politics or the client's specific tone or the nuance of the relationship.
That is a perfect translation of the dynamic. You let the assistant do the mechanical sorting, but the final judgment, the actual empathy, rests entirely on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Which leads to the final step, layer 4, finalization and feedback. This layer is entirely about transparency for the student. The system creates dual-logged audit trails.
So it isn't just a black box where the student gets a mystery grade from a computer.
Not at all. The framework utilizes explainable AI tools, specifically tools called SAP and LIME. Think of these as digital highlighters.
Okay.
If the AI suggests a low grade for a specific paragraph, SAP and LIME highlight the exact words and sentences that cause the machine's logic to reach that conclusion.
Oh, wow. So the student sees exactly what the AI suggested. They see the digital highlights of why it suggested it, and then they see the human teacher's final adjusted grade and qualitative feedback right next to it.
Yes. It builds immense trust because the student knows a human being actually protected them from the machine's blind spots.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today, but whether you are trying to manage your own digital boundaries at home without losing your autonomy, or you're preparing to navigate a 150-year lifespan where you have to constantly self-educate to stay relevant, or you're a teacher staring down a stack of 800 essays. The through line is exactly the same.
It really is.
Technology is an absolutely incredible engine. It provides the raw horsepower to save us time and energy. But human judgment, Our nuance and our hard-earned wisdom, that must always remain the steering wheel.
And if I can leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought on that idea.
Please do.
We just talked about that 13% error rate in the grading study where the AI failed to understand satire and cultural context.
The moments where the human had to step in and save the essay, yeah.
Look at how fast deep learning is evolving. As transformer models become exponentially more advanced, that 13% error rate is inevitably going to shrink. It might drop to 5% and then 1%.
Oh, man.
If we reach a point in the near future where the AI is perfectly assessing creativity, satire, and cultural nuance 99.9% of the time, what exactly will the human in the loop be doing?
Right.
Will we simply become glorified rubber stamps for a machine that understands human nuance better than we do? Or will our very definition of what makes art, learning, and human connection nuance have to fundamentally evolve just so we can stay one step ahead of the algorithm?
Wow. If the machine learns to perfectly replicate our wisdom, do we have to invent an entirely new kind of wisdom?
Exactly.
That is a heavy question to mull over. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. As you go about your week, take a hard look at your own routines. Are you using technology as a tool to clear the brush? Or have you fallen into the efficiency trap and let it start making your decisions for you? Think about it. We'll catch you next time.